Hi friends, welcome to the Share, Invite, Proclaim channel. My name is Judy. We're nearing the end of our study in the book of Revelation. We have talked about this being performed in Ephesus, and that it is an act, 7 acts, each having 7 windows of a message to believers, to encourage them because they've been facing persecution from the Roman government. And the first window, we have the promise that we are going to reign with Christ in the millennium. In the second window, we have the judgment of evil and evildoers. They're punished and they go to the lake of fire. And then in the third window, we have a new heaven and a new earth. There's no separation between us and God. And then in the fourth window, we have painful experiences are gone. We have this assurance from God. And in the fifth window, we have the New Jerusalem. And in the sixth window, we will have the city's illumination. In the fifth window, New Jerusalem, this is from This is from Revelation 21, verses 9 to 21. So let's talk about that one. And we have an angel coming to John to show him the bride, the wife of the Lamb. The Lamb is Jesus Christ, and the church is the wife of the bride. Is there any significance in this angel that spoke to John? John identifies the angel as the one who brought the last of the 7 plagues upon the earth. His purpose is to show John that the church, the bride, and Jesus is identified as the bridegroom. The angel takes John to a high mountain to see the holy city, Jerusalem, coming down from heaven, from God. You know, I was reading in Ezekiel 38:12 says that Israel and Jerusalem are the center of the world. Jerusalem is the location of the temple that the Jews sacrificed animals to pay for their sins. It's the place where Jesus was crucified to pay for the sins of the world. And it's where the Christian church began. So it's a very important place. In verse 16, the angel took John to a great and high mountain to show him the holy city, Jerusalem. The city comes down from heaven having the glory of God. Now, this great mountain could be the Temple Mount where David and Solomon built the temple. It's 2,400 feet high, or it could be the Mount of Olives, which is 2,600 feet high. And that's where Jesus comes to the eastern gate, and also where he ascended to heaven. It's not the most highest hill in the region. That would be Mount Scopus, which is 2,700 feet high, or Mount Hermon at 2,800 feet high. But it's a high mountain, no matter which one it is. But I think it's probably either the Temple Mount or the Mount of Olives. So the New Jerusalem comes down from heaven, and it is a holy city. Evildoers are in the lake of fire, and there's no need for a temple building in this New Jerusalem, because it tells us in verse 22 that God the Almighty and Jesus Christ are the temple. You know, I find it strange that John records so much about this new city. He's very specific. In verse 11, he says, the glory of God is the brilliance of the city. Verse 12, high walls with 12 gates and 12 angels at the gates. And the name of the 12 tribes of Israel are on the gates. And then in verse 13, 3 gates are in each compass point. At verse 14, 12 foundation stones for the walls with the names of the 12 apostles of Christ on the stones. And in verse 15, the angel had a gold measuring rod to measure the city. Verse 16, the city is a square, 1,500 miles long and wide and high. It's like a cube. A cube is a three-dimensional extension of a square. And verse 17, the wall is 72 yards. Verse 18, then we're told the material of the wall: jasper, foundation stones, every kind of precious stones. And then in verse 21, the gates are pearls, and it has a street of pure gold. And I'm thinking, is this city big enough to have God, Christ, the apostles, the elders, believers from every age, Jews, angels, and the other beings like cherubim? Perhaps we as humans need to think of specific distances to make it seem real. Since most of the people in the audience at Ephesus had not traveled very long distances, a cube would seem gigantic. And why was the city cube-shaped? Well, the Interpreter's Bible commentary tells us the Holy of Holies was a cube in 1 Kings 6:20. Perhaps the measurement, the specific measurement, is a symbol of the city that is as large as it needs to be. Jesus said that he goes to heaven to prepare a place for us. And that promise has been all throughout history. John 14:2, Jesus said, in my Father's house are many rooms. There is room enough for everyone. And so the city is as big as it needs to be. And only those whose names are written in the Lamb's Book of Life will be there. And that is the fifth window of New Jerusalem. And then we have the sixth window, which is the city's illumination. How do we light up this city? Revelation 21, verses 22 to 27. So we've had some promises. We reign with Christ in the millennium. Judgment puts evil and evildoers into the lake of fire. There's a new heaven and new earth. They are joined. There's no separation between us and God. And painful experiences are gone. There's the New Jerusalem, beauty of the believer's new residence with God and Christ. And in the sixth window, we have the city's illumination, New Jerusalem's illumination. Chapter 21, verse 22, there is no temple, no physical temple in it, because God the Almighty and Christ are its temple. Verse 23, the city has no need of the sun or the moon, for it's illuminated by the Shekinah glory, pure love of God. And its lamp is the Lamb, which is Christ. Verse 24, the nations will walk by its light, and the kings of the earth will bring their glory into it. John is quoting Isaiah 60, verses 1, 3, 5, and 11. Verse 1, arise, shine, for your light has come. Jesus is the light of the world, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. And that's pure love. Verse 3, nations, and heaven will have many ethnic groups. Nations will come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your rising. And in verse 5, then you will see and be radiant, and your heart will thrill and rejoice. The wealth, that would be the believers, they are the valuable wealth. The wealth of the nations will come to you. And in verse 11, your gates will be open continually. There's no need for security because evil doers are in the lake of fire. They, the gates, will not be closed day or night, so that men may bring to you the wealth of nations, which are the believers, with their kings led in procession. Revelation 21:25, in the daytime, for there will be no night there, because sin operates in the night. In the daytime, its gates will never be closed. Verse 26, and they, the kings, will bring the glory and the honor of the nations into it. So this is an image of kings of every believing nation leading a procession of believers into heaven. And verse 27, evildoers are in the lake of fire. The only residents in this place are those who are in the Lamb's book of life. And that is New Jerusalem and the city's illumination. And in the seventh window, we have the river of life. And we'll talk about that and the epilogue in the next video. So thanks for watching.